it's like a really, really special and rare chance to be working in UNESCO. Yeah, it just made me learn a lot outside my research, my little bubble of research, and getting into like the more real world.
Hi, welcome back to Women in Talk. In today's episode, we're going to have my dear friend Jiaying, where we will talk about interning in UNESCO Jakarta office. So, for anyone who is interested, please stay tuned. Hi, Jiaying.
Hi, Kanesha.
How are you?
Good. So nice to see you again.
Same, likewise. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jiaying Lin, and I'm from China. I am currently a trainee in the UNESCO Office Jakarta, and my background is urban planning for my bachelor and master's, and I did my PhD in environmental science. In UNESCO, it has been like a long time that I wanted to work in an international organization,
Okay.
and especially UNESCO because I think it's really connected with this World Heritage. So when I'm doing my bachelor's, we study architecture and all this stuff. So I think that's like a very important part for us and very close to us in our heart. So the seed has been there waiting, and but I didn't apply for anything in the international organization until I finished almost close to the end of my PhD. So I was thinking I would probably take this chance to check if there's anything would fit to my expectations.
Okay.
So yeah, luckily I found this program between the Chinese Scholarship Council and the UNESCO and other UN organizations. So they sponsor like a 1 year traineeship in these organizations. And I checked all the jobs in UNESCO.
Mhm.
I just found like maybe several I'm interested in, like close to culture or science or any of these fields that close to my studies. And Jakarta position is like the only one that is really, really close related with my thesis. It's about like a policy and also requires like a scientific, like a research background and these scientific things. So I just really feel like, okay, this is seems really interesting. So I didn't really thought about like it's because of like in Indonesia or in other countries. Like I also like really wanted to be like in the headquarter or something, but I think just the job is not really fitting into my expectations.
I see. What type of unit are you now?
I'm in the science sector in the policy and the capacity building unit,
Okay.
to be like specific. Yes.
So, do you remember the question that you had for the interview?
Oh, I think, yeah, at first they ask your introduction, of course, and then they ask you, how do you think your experience can fit into this job? Like this very important question. And then they go to more detail into some policies like SDGs and South-South cooperation and partnerships in the world. Yes, I don't really remember so well, but I remember it's like the process like this: introduction, and then your experience, and then the more specific question related to your job description. So
Mm.
yeah, that's like the process, and finally you can get the chance to maybe ask them a question.
I see. So, how it's been doing in UNESCO Jakarta?
Well, I think it's really something um it's different from my expectation. Like in some parts it's really, really good because we deal with stuff like in the regional level, which is like the advantage of Jakarta office, because it's like the regional office for science. So really, it it made me like get to know so many countries in this region, and we have these chances to organize like regional activities or events.
Mm.
And so I think it's really nice to have this platform. And on the other side, I think when I did my interview with my supervisor now, and from the SHS sector, like social science sector, they already shared their experience with me. Like, okay, this is going to be very different from research that you already did before. So, but for me at that time, it was like, okay, because I really wanted to have experience besides just the scientific academic things. So it's like one of the motivations I came here. So I think it was also the good part. But I just didn't expect that I would get really detailed trainings or experience in dealing with like contracts or these administrative process. I think it's also very important in a big organization like UN organizations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what about the process when you apply to the internship, UNESCO internship? Does it take longer than you expected, or how is it? And especially the visa.
Yes. Actually, I think it took me shorter than I expected because I read so many people writing their experience online.
Mm.
Like, oh, you need to be patient because this process is really long. First, you need to apply, and maybe after 1 month, you get the notice about the first round written test. And after the written test, maybe another 2 months, they would tell you, okay, you get the interview. And after the interview, I think I also waited like 1 or 2 months until I get the final confirmation. So it was quite long, like half year, I think, since I applied, that
How?
I got confirmation that I got the contract, and then we can start all this visa process. And luckily, it's our colleagues in the UNESCO office here. They are really helpful because we are not here yet in the country yet. And in Indonesia, you need to apply for this residence permit before you arrive here. So they did the first job for me to apply for this residence permit because they need to be like a guarantee for me. And after I came here, I need to extend my visa for the whole period of residence permit that I got. So it's like the first month I need to extend it. And that was the process that gave us, not just me, also our colleagues in the office, a lot of headache because I think they changed the policy from year to year, or anyway, it's just different from the no, intern from last year,
Okay.
because for her she just got the whole year visa after she arrived. She extended and then she got the whole year. And for me, this year was, they said now they don't give it longer than 3 months the first time that I asked for extension. So
Uh,
which means I need to extend it like three, 4 times in this whole process.
okay.
Yeah, but luckily we just provided the right documents and tell them about this issue, and I extended like twice to get this visa.
So, but at least the host country will help you
Yeah,
to prepare the visa and stuff, right?
yeah.
Okay, so
So
basically, if we want to do an internship at UNESCO in, for example, not in Indonesia, in another country, at least they will guide us to prepare our visa, right? So we're not that lost or like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it also depends on the office.
Yeah.
Some of my friends said their office just took care of everything without them, like the intern going to the immigration office or anything, and didn't even ask money from them. So they just took care of everything. And some other friends, they are like just as lost as we can imagine. So it depends on
The
the
country.
office.
So far, how's the office life and how do you like adapt to the multicultural environment?
um Office life was like quite short for me. This year is like a special year, I guess, for everybody. Everybody's like getting this pandemic situation, and we got lockdowns and stuff. And the same for UNESCO. I think all the UN organizations in Indonesia, we are like working from home since March. And until now, I think we get notice it's going to be extended to December. So it's been a long time working home alone. And but the short time that I've been in an office, that we also shared our time together, I think it was really nice because our colleagues are just so welcoming to us, like to the newcomers. And we would have like lunch together, like, yeah. And we sometimes we go out to the cafe, or sometimes we just go to the balcony in the office, and then we just eat our food together. So it was really nice to have like some conversation outside our work, like with our colleagues. And we are all from different units, so our experience is kind of uh, different, and we have the chance to share our, like, what we are doing and how is it going. So I really enjoyed working with them. And in regarding the like a multicultural environment, I think I'm just quite used to it since my university, because we had a chance like having some workshops or some international competition or summer schools about like architecture or urban planning. So we had chance to work with students from other countries, like from France, from Israel, from US, from Mexico. So like everywhere in the world. So it was like really nice experience for me, because everybody brings in their different perspectives, and it's really fascinating for me to learn about other people's culture. And yeah, I just really enjoy that. And then I went to study in Germany. It's also like an international environment, because my colleagues, they're from different countries, that they're not just from Germany or something. Like we have least German colleagues in our environment. They are like the minority in our school. So it was also interesting. And I also had a colleague from Indonesia when I was in Germany. So it was really good that I can ask her, like, oh, so what should I expect in in Indonesia, in Jakarta especially, and can you teach me like a few words, like in Bahasa, to say hi in the morning. Yeah, so it's really, really, really fun. And after I came here, I think it's just as good as I imagined, with all these nice colleagues. I think they also understand us, that we are like not from here, and but we are used to work with the international team. So I think everything just worked out very fine.
I
Yeah.
feel like I feel like in UNESCO as well, like or maybe in the majority of the UN agency that have to be adaptable with the environment because everyone is very has their own diverse culture and backgrounds and education, right? So I think it's really interesting to be integrated in such international environment.
our supervisors, their backgrounds like so diverse. They might be from France, but then their family is from Japan, and then they worked in another country, and finally now they're in Indonesia. So I think everybody just bring in a very different background into this environment.
Very interesting. So, what do you think is the benefit interning in UNESCO?
The benefits, I would say, first, it's like a really nice experience to see what an organization like at the international level is doing, like how they, what kind of goals they're pursuing, what are the most important steps they're taking, and the perspective for recent or long terms. And we even got the chance to like participate in their surveys because they want to know the younger generation's opinion about, okay, what should we pursue in the next decade. So I think in that part it's really good, and might be different from others. And also I would say our like coordination with different stakeholders is also like a benefit in this working environment, because we have to communicate with maybe from academic, from government, and from some private sectors and NGOs. So it's really fruitful discussion all the time that we had, because everybody is having like a experience in their own field and different sectors. So it's really nice to have this experience. And other thing is, I think it's just the diversity of this environment. It just brings you a lot of like new experience, and how to work, how to adapt, and how to learn from each other, like respect each other. And yeah, I think that is the most important things that I got.
I feel like privilege of being in the UN, to be like a part or like doing internship in UN. I think it's like the accessibility of information that, yeah, like
Yeah.
to any handbook guidelines, or like for example for the pandemic, like we when we had a town hall, etc., we were updated what should we do, what's the do and what's the don'ts, right?
Yes, exactly.
Actually it does eventually help us to be more open-minded than before.
Exactly. I think it's really, really like honored to be working in this kind of international organization where they provide you this information and all these perspectives that they have, because they really can pull all the resources together, and then they just distribute all these information or resources to us, like working in this organization. And also I think it was great to learn from our colleagues. I Because maybe for me it's like my first really like a working internship, because I just did my design project with my supervisor in the masters or universities, but I never worked in the company or something. But in UNESCO it's just so nice that our colleagues, they actually been there for so much longer, and they are very helpful to teach us like what process we should follow and what to do. And yeah, they're just really nice. And also like about life, they can also give you like so many good advice, like living in Indonesia, like, oh, this is like nice street food in front of our office, you have to try this and that. Yeah, it's really fun to be there.
Yeah, but maybe I don't know whether people are aware as well. I think maybe one of the downside will be that they don't pay the intern. So they actually advise to find like the sponsor or like your government, yeah, like a sponsorship for you, because they will not uh, pay for you. Now, for certain UN agency, they do provide stipend. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think
So I think it's depending on the type of internship, right? Because they also have the UN volunteer, and they called volunteer, but they still get paid, I think.
it's true. From your perspective, what do people need to know before and their expectation towards the internship in
Mm,
for example?
yeah, I think first people should be aware of what is their advantage, like what is their experience, how it can be uh, like used in your work in the UNESCO or other organizations, because if you know what you can really do, maybe you can bring the most of it in your work. But if you are just choosing it because like, okay, this working location really attracts me or some other things, it might not bring you to where you are. So that's like what I got the advice when I was preparing for my interview and stuff. So they said you better not to choose just because of the location or some other aspects. It's better to be like you really feel you're fitting into this job, and this will bring you so much more advantage when you're applying for it, and after you get in, you're working on it. So this is really important. And another thing is you can always ask if you get the chance to do an interview. You can already ask your future boss like, so what do you expect that us to do, and what is actually like to work there. So I think that was also very good aspect, because I got this question in my interview. So I just asked my supervisor like, so how do you feel like working in the UN for so many years? And they're just being very honest with me like, this is going to be very different from research. So I think it's good to be prepared for what are you going to do in the future. And another thing, I don't know, I think it's so basic, like the language stuff, because I saw so many interesting jobs in this program, but they just said, okay, you need to know French or Spanish. So I just have to be, okay, I have to miss this chance because I don't speak the language. So I think it's good to learn the local language as well. I just recently received the email from our headquarter. They said they are asking us about how interested we want to learn another UN language. So they're planning to provide the employees the language courses. So I think that's another like a very nice initiative, because now so many people working from home, maybe they get more like spare time or like a calm environment so they can learn a new language. So this is really
Nice.
good,
Good.
yeah, opportunity.
Yeah, remind me of like during the pandemic, they did like the headquarter from the UNESCO. They created an event to get to know another UNESCO personnel from the headquarters or around the world. And one time I did participate to this event, and it's actually really nice that you get to know what other people are doing in another part of the world and a different responsibilities and different environment, right? Even though like we're only from UNESCO Jakarta, but being a part of in UNESCO agency make us a part of the whole system. Right.
Yes, yeah, that's really the nice part.
What do you think about the work-life balance in UNESCO?
I think my experience to comparing it with maybe my friends working in China, it's much better than these companies and the organizations, because they really provide you the time, the annual leave, and also your sick leave, it's all like your rights to rest are really well protected. And another, but maybe it's like a more like a norm in Europe, I guess, because in Germany they also have like the similar kind of law that how many hours you can work every every week, and you have to take these annual leaves because it's like by law you have to rest. So I think that is the really good part of balancing your life and work if you are working in UNESCO. So that part I really would recommend people.
And I believe that actually the UN agency always like advocate about mental health, makes the environment to be comfortable talking about the things that is uncomfortable to talk and to discuss and not to belittle people.
Yes, because all these uh, mindset or these policies, I think UN is like the pioneer. So they're trying to set the standards higher than in the normal conditions. So we really get the benefit from it. Like they would talk about like a female in the working environment. They would talk about like maybe harassment or something, or even like domestic violence, these things related to people's lives. So they really give us this platform to, maybe if people really have this trouble, they can refer to them for help.
Do you have you had a chance to develop a new skill or a new perspective thanks to UNESCO or this internship?
Sometimes when we organize some events, we have to think like some of our colleagues are already at night or something, so we have to change the time that fit to everyone. So it's like being considerate about our partners. And also, I mentioned before, like the working procedure in like a big organization, because I have never worked in a big organization before. So it's really really new to me to learn these steps and all these like permissions or clearance reviews from our colleagues.
So now, since you live in Jakarta, is
Hmm.
any interesting part that you learn?
I think the urban landscape, when I talk about it, it's so much difference in a so close distance. Like you can see like a skyscrapers on the left side, and then you can see urban villages next to it. So I just feel it's a really like a reminder for us to think about the inequality in the world, in this country. So what we can do from our work, like what I think UN is trying to do is try to make the world more like equal to live.
So, how do you encourage people if they want to apply to UNESCO or other UN agency?
When I encourage myself since I was very young is no one can make you feel inferior except yourself,
Wow.
because I think I didn't have like much self-confidence when I was growing up, although I was like doing fine in my studies in school, but I just cannot feel that kind of confidence that people have. I think it was until that I lived alone in another country, so I start to develop like a confidence about what I can do, how much I can achieve. So maybe that would be helpful for people when they apply for a dream job, because at least you can try. Doesn't matter like other people tell you, oh, you're not good enough or something. You can just try if you feel it's really fitting to you and you just want to give it a shot.
I think it could, I mean, it gives motivation to people not to limit themselves. Thank you very much, Jay.
Yeah. Thank you.
I hope people who are interested in interning in one of the UN agency or UNESCO
Hmm.
Jakarta office, like, I hope they got inspired and motivated to apply. And yeah,
Yes.
thank you very much.
I thank you. I also hope that more people will come to join us in Jakarta.
Okay, then, bye.
Bye.